Ladies and gentlemen, get them boarding passes ready. Make sure you put all your baggage under your seat or over your seat, whatever you got to do on the airplane now. We about to take you on a ride on a flight through some sports today, getting you all caught up from the weekend, following up on some things you heard on Drive Time from Matty Ice. Uh, we got some retirements happening today. We've got the JC Top 10, as always, on Tuesday. We have some scouting combine from yours truly. Some updates, some information, just names of players. I'll tell you about that later. Um, we've got on tonight's show. I'm sorry, first it's the Sideline Junkies. Welcome to the Tuesday Night Flight. That's the gentleman Jack. That's
Right on time.
KG, the show's host. I'm the Midnight Rider. And with all of that being said, KG, let's get ready to take off.
Well, good evening, everyone. That rousing introduction from the Midnight Rider. He already told you what's on the slate, what's on the docket. So if you don't mind, put your trays in the upright folded position, buckle your seatbelts, and let's get it going. First and foremost, how we do it every night, like we'd always do it at this time. I got to shine. How y'all feeling tonight?
I thought you would keep going.
I was going to, but I was like, let me chill.
I'll be good, man.
I like your background, big guy.
Yes, little lefty for you. I'm always going with Big John, so I said I got to show Lefty some love.
I tell you, when I saw Lefty, what was that, Georgia State he went to?
Yes.
I believe it was. He just didn't look right over there on that sideline, man. Because I crossed paths with Lefty quite a bit growing up as close to College Park as I did and going to his basketball camps. He was a funny dude. He could, he loved being around the kids. He loved coaching. And I like Lefty Driesell a lot.
I'll tell you something about Lefty real quick. It was this had to be about 3 years ago. He came back to College Park and they had him sitting in the middle of the locker room with the whole team sitting around him. He was just giving them pointers.
Pep talk too, yeah.
Yeah, he was coaching basically. Let's call a spade a spade. He was coaching. And Lefty, I think they went out and they blew whoever. It was a Big Ten game. And they blew somebody out that night. I was like, good grief. Lefty need to talk to y'all every night. But, fellas, let's get up in this thing. Of course, see, when you got your own fan club, it's beautiful. KG is the best. KG number one.
Oh, Lord. KG texting, putting in his own comments.
Stop it, Jack. Fellas, Diana Taurasi has called it a career. We starting this thing off with just retirement. Retirement is what we're talking. Diana Taurasi has called it a career. Played her whole entire WNBA career with the Phoenix Mercury. 3-time WNBA champion, 2-time WNBA Finals MVP, 1-time MVP, 11-time All-Star, 10-time All WNBA first team, 4-time WNBA second team. The Rookie of the Year in 2004. She led the league in scoring 5 times. She led the league in assists in 2014. 6-time WNBA peak performer. She's on the 15th anniversary team, the 20th anniversary team, and the 25th anniversary team. Overseas, she won 6 EuroLeague championships, 7 Russian national championships, 3 Russian Cups. She's been the league player of the year in the Russian league, Turkish National League champion, Turkish Cup winner in college. I mean, her resume is just impeccable. Let's just say that.
It is.
In college, she won 3 national championships at UConn, 2 most outstanding players. She won the Wade Trophy. She won 2 Honda Sports trophies, 2-time College Player of the Year, USBWA Women's National Player of the Year, AP College Player of the Year. She won the Nancy Lieberman Award 2 times, Big East Player of the Year twice, first team All-American twice, 3-time Kodak All-American, 2-time All-American USBWA, second team All-American, 3-time first team All Big East, Big East women's basketball tournament most outstanding player, Big East All Freshman team, and 4-time USA Basketball Female Athlete of the Year. And she has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Olympic gold medals from 2004 to 2024. And she has 3 gold medals in the World Championship and 1 bronze. That is her resume. I ain't even got to ask what I was going to ask because it's already foregone. I was going to say Hall of Fame. And do we need to wait?
Right.
Yeah. If that's the rules say.
Yeah. But I'll tell you, she's obviously the most decorated women's basketball player ever. You figure her 20 years pro, what she had 4 to 5 years in college. Man, she's I haven't ever heard of a career like hers, man. Like I say, she's probably I think I saw she averages about 19 points for her career, but she had some big years. I mean, shit, I think she averaged 26, 27 points a couple times, 25 points. Like KG said, she was a scoring leader a couple times. Taurasi was dangerous in her younger days, and then she started playing smart ball and being just a team leader and not the number one go-to. So I respect Taurasi a lot. Midnight Rider, you got anything to add?
She was all right. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I mean, we got KG just ran off like the equivalent of like the First Testament in terms of stats. I mean, I think the question becomes like, where does she land on the Mount Rushmore of female basketball players? What is her lineage, or where does she sit in the pantheon or the Mount Rushmore, whatever you want to call it? I think that becomes the bigger question. How much love do you give her?
Now, that's a good question, because I was sitting here and JoJo checking in. She said DT. Yes, indeed.
Yes,
I was sitting here and I said, is she the greatest WNBA player of all time? And I said, you got to go up against your Cheryl Swoops, your Cynthia Cooper, your Lisa Leslie, your Maya Moores. She got a lot of names that she got to go up against. And I think she can hold her own against every name. I can name some names that are not so common that were great players in the WNBA. Your Michelle Timms, your Tisha Penicheros. God, I can see her face in my head, but I can't think of her name. One of the most vicious point guards to play the game, and I can't even remember her name, and I do apologize. But
no,
you got so many.
She's above those. You got to talk. We're only talking about 5 or 6 people. She's in a class like that. She's not in the class of really good. She's in the class of
amazing,
like one of the greats. Like, she's an icon.
No doubt.
We can't be shopping at Lidl for this one.
Mm-mm.
I'm not even gonna go there with you because I was ready to say something. You was ready to start a whole argument. We're not doing that tonight.
Nah, you two calm down tonight.
We're not doing that tonight. I look, I got to get up early. I'm not messing with you. But she called it a career, and what a career it was. To be honest, do we see coaching in her future, or do we see commentating in her future?
I think she still has too much player left in her, so I think it'd be hard for her to coach because she's going to want people to do it her way. And this is why great players struggle to be coaches, is they struggle with the player that doesn't either give the effort or do all the right things to get where they want to be. They can tell you where they want to be, but they don't know how to get there. And even when you tell them how to get there, they don't want to listen because they think they already arrived.
Mm.
Well, that used to be a good segment. That used to be a good segment on the show.
Yeah. The Arrive Five. We already know about arriving. Next up, talking about retirement. Tonight's theme is retirement. That's tonight's theme. JoJo said, commentator. She had something like a Manning cast. It was her, Sue Bird, and somebody else. Like I don't want to say it was Breonna Stewart. That's another name that when you talk about WNBA greats, Breonna Stewart's another one. Candace Parker, Tina Thompson. I can list WNBA names all day long. But she did something like a Manning cast for an NBA game, and they were really, really good at it. Like most people, they said that was watched more than the regular broadcast of the game. So she might, yeah. JoJo said, I think it was with Stu and them. Yeah. That was really, really good because they were actually playing a drinking game on camera. And it was really, really good. Yeah. JoJo, thank you. I knew you'd have my back. But happy trails to Diana Taurasi. Whatever the game holds for you next, I know the game's gonna love you. You're gonna be accepted wherever you go. Speaking of happy trails, I said retirement's gonna be the motif for the night. Jason Peters, quite arguably for over 10 years, this man was probably one of the best left tackles in the game. And if anybody says otherwise, it was him, Trent Williams, and then it was everybody else. So it didn't matter who you put 1 and 2, but those were your 2 best left tackles in the game.
So Joe Thomas gets no love in this list?
Moving right along.
Wow.
Joe Thomas is good, but I've what you want me to say?
No, it's all good.
I never had Joe Thomas as my top 10. I never said, oh man, I need a guy that reminds me of Joe Thomas. No, I said I need me a silverback. I need me a Jason Peters. That's what I always said when they talked about left tackle. Joe Thomas, absolute dog, but he wasn't top 5 for me. He wasn't top. He may be top 10, but not top 5.
Of that 10-year stretch, you telling me he can't be in your top 5?
Davis Bakhtiari, stop it. Bakhtiari, okay, he can be everybody else, JoJo. He can't be 1 or 2 because it was Peters and Trent Williams. Silverback, Jason Peters. That was it.
If they did a Hall of Fame thing for Bakhtiari, he'd probably be probable because he probably hurt.
Well, I'm going to tell you a surefire Hall of Famer, and that's Jason Peters. Drafted by the Buffalo Bills. And what was he drafted? What was that, 2004? Played with them to 2008, went to Philly, where he made his career from 2009 to 2020. And then he bounced around after that. 21 with the Bears, 22 with the Cowboys. And then he played with Seattle in 23 and 24. Super Bowl 52 champion, 2-time first team All-Pro, 4-time second team All-Pro, 9-time Pro Bowler, NFL 2010s All-Decade team. And in college, he was a All SEC second team. Played a possible 221 out of 248 in games. After he retired, maybe 10 minutes after he retired, Seattle hired him in the front office as a veteran mentor. Maybe it was less than that. Maybe he put his retirement paperwork in, had his press conference, and they hired him, but it was quick. JoJo said top 2, Williams, then David with my top 2. Oh my goodness. Let me go ahead and
the number of years he played or the games he played in is probably close to what people call Rod Gardner.
Hold on, let me put that in my pen section. Where's my pen at? Because we need to have that conversation, JoJo. You're gonna have to come in for that. We're gonna talk about left tackles. We talking about left tackles. Yeah, you damn right. Probably the most important position in baseball and football right now. I'm sorry. And thanks to Lawrence Taylor. All right, pen. Where's my pen at? But Jack, thoughts on Jason Peters?
He's a big boy. He, like you said, him, Trent Williams, those were some of the best linemen in the game. And Phillies had a dynamite line probably for a good while, good 5 years, maybe even more. It's time. How long did you say Jason played?
From 2000, but he was 19 years, 04 to 2024.
19 years at one of the hardest positions on the field, the most contact, the most bang, the most boom, the linemen. They in there mixing it up in the trenches. So to get a 19-year career playing offensive line is amazing. Jason Peters, Hall of Fame. What y'all think?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Hall of Fame.
Most definitely. First ballot.
So, yeah. That's what I think about Mr. Peters.
Midnight Rider?
Oh, I thought I already talked. No, I'm with you. I just think he's definitely a Hall of Famer. I question it of the top 3 a little bit, but I mean top 2. But again, we pinned that conversation, so I'm not even gonna go back and start or dig up that argument.
Well, JoJo said hurt his last 4 years. 2, in my opinion, check his resume. Yeah, he was hurt the last couple of years.
Right.
Absolutely, it is the LT. That's a hard position when you got a right-handed quarterback because you're protecting the blind side. Easy first ballot. I agree with that. And that's without a shadow of a doubt. Easy first ballot.
So, we got you on the easy because it depends on who else is in that class. He's retiring right now, so Kelsey will be the class before him. So that's why I'm thinking about stuff like that.
Yeah. You talking about Jason Kelsey? Yeah, Jason Kelsey will be before him.
Okay.
Oh, is it 2 before him? But either way, we're talking 2030. We're talking class of 2030. We're talking 5 years from now.
Right.
And he played 21 seasons in the NFL. I'm sorry, I was wrong. 21 seasons.
That's even more amazing, man.
Yeah, to do it at a high level for 21 years. And Midnight Rider, it's funny you say that. You say who else? You said easy on the easy. Who else would be in the class? I'm like, depending on, I don't think we had any big names retire this year. So he would probably be your first ballot. And then it'll be everybody else that hasn't gotten in the last 5 years. And then whatever the senior committee picks. So in 5 years, it may be a small class.
We'll see.
It's a small class this year. Yeah,
We'll
21.
see.
Wow. Yeah, JoJo, that's 21 years. This man just turned 43 back in January. So you're 42 years old, still playing left tackle.
No, he was playing guard towards the end.
Really?
Yeah, he played left guard for them.
Okay. All right, thank you for the correction.
Not to diminish him, but no, he was playing a lot more guard towards the end of his career than tackle.
Gotcha. Happy trails to him, and go ahead and of course, all offensive linemen, once they come out of the game, they all slim down. So wait a couple of years to fit him for his gold jacket, but start getting his bus commission now because he will be a Hall of Famer. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's Tuesday night. Let's go ahead and transition on into it. It's none other than the JC College Basketball Top 10. Jack Carr, the gentleman, take it away.
All right, John. Thank you, KG. It's been a bumpy ride in the top 10, especially the lower half of the top 10 this week. Got some major changes in the bottom half. Auburn proceeded to move back into the number 1 position with a 25-2 record. They got 61 votes to be in first place. I know there's only 60, but I get my vote. So there's 61 votes. They're the first place team. They overcame a rough offensive performance to beat Arkansas 67-60 Wednesday. Johnny Broome had 16 points, 13 rebounds. Auburn shot under 40% from the field. Most of the time, winning team, 46, 48% from the field. Under 40%, you're considered off. So they really fought hard to come back and beat Arkansas. And Arkansas's got a tough team with a couple upsets already on their resume. So we'll see what happens with Arkansas as far as being on the bubble or where they are in this selection process. And then Broome, the next game, Broome had a season high 31 points and 14 rebounds to lead Auburn past Georgia, 82-70. Denver Jones chipped in with 17 points, and Auburn showed how powerful their offense can be with a 53-point second half. That's a lot of points for one half of ball, guys. Auburn, we've been talking about Auburn's offense and how they can score, and they are a top-ranked team in scoring this year. Up next, they got Ole Miss Wednesday, and that game will be at 7 p.m. on ESPN. So you want to see the number one squad play? They got a big game on Wednesday. Check them out. And they got Saturday, they got Kentucky as well. Kentucky's been up and down like a roller coaster, man. You can't tell what they're going to do, but they still somebody to reckon with. So coming in at number 2, up a couple spots, is the Duke Blue Devils at 23-4. They had a 110-67 blowout of Illinois Saturday. It was fugly, man. It wasn't ugly. It was fugly. And Cooper Flagg scored 16 points in his Madison Square Garden debut. 8 players scored in double figures. Hold up. Is it 8? 7 players scored in double figures for the Blue Devils. Up next is playing right now against Miami. I'm sorry. It's on ESPN right now. Saturday, they got Florida State at Cameron, 7 p.m. on the ACC network. Coming up at the number 3 spot in my poll, it's going to be the Florida Gators coming in with a 23-4 record. They picked up the win last Saturday against LSU, 79-65. Man, this boy Ruben, man, I don't know how to say his last name, but I know how to say his first name. His name is Ruben. Ruben Shinlu had a career high 19 points and 3 rebounds. Florida was down in the first half, but Florida did it too, man. They put on a hot second half. Florida put up 48 points in the second half to secure the win. Thomas Hall also had 16 points, 10 rebounds. Up next, they're playing right now against Georgia on the SEC network. And then they got Texas A&M Saturday at 8:30 on SEC network. So that's what's up there. In the number 4 spot, they stayed right where they were with me. The Houston Cougars, 23-4. LJ Cryer scored 28 points. Milo Zuzan had 19 points as Houston defeated then number 8, Iowa State, 68-59.
Can I jump in here?
Huh?
Can I jump in here on this one?
Anytime you want, please.
I think Iowa State was down 2 of their better players. And because of that, I watched a lot of this ball game, and Houston was just unbearable. They were suffocating in their defense. They overplayed a lot of stuff. It just looked like it looked like Iowa State was never going to score for large stretches of that ball game. So that's what I took away from that. I had some notes, but I mean, all my notes are the same thing.
You sound spot on,
aggressive.
Man. Houston is one of the best defenses in the country.
7 minutes and 52 seconds without a basket. Ended at 3:49 in the second quarter. And I just stopped taking notes because there was no need to take notes anymore. Because I saw everything I needed to see.
Yeah. No, Houston's defense.
I mean, Houston's defense has been tough. Yep.
And Iowa State is out a couple players. I think they might have lost 3 out of the last 4. Iowa State's definitely on a fall. They fell out of my top 10 all the way. So, Iowa State's got some stuff to straighten out. Hopefully they can get healthy by tournament. It'll hurt losing these games because it's going to drop them in their seeding. But Iowa is a team to reckon with when they're healthy. So they've been as high as number 3 in the poll. So
in that situation, they become one of those teams that they're going to become a team that you don't want to play, because technically, when healthy, they're probably a 1, 2, or 3 in terms of seeding. And then now they're going to be like what, 5, 6, or maybe a 7 seed, somewhere in that range. I'll probably say 5 or 6. Because of this fall.
Yeah, they could be a 6 easy, and they could be a 2 if they were, healthy. And that's the scary thing. You don't want to run into a team that's been having a tough time and they get a low seed, and then they get healthy and they're that banging team again, So it could be some bracket busters by them.
Yep.
Because they're going to get matched up with some of the top teams. If you get a 6 seed, you're not really playing the cupcakes then. So, but this boy Milos, I guess his last name is pronounced Uzan. It's Uzan. He's really a baller over there. Everybody thinks of LJ Cryer at Houston, but you got to see this boy Milos, man. He had a career high the other day, 22 points, and Houston clinched at least a share of the Big 12 title for the regular season with a win over then number 10 Texas Tech. So Houston, one more win, they can lock the Big 12 up. So up next is a home game with Cincinnati on Saturday at 4:30. Don't see Cincinnati giving them much problem, so that might be the game to secure it. In my number 5 spot, this team has impressed me. I watched them the other night, and I'm not a Big East basketball follower, really. I mean, I haven't watched Big East basketball consistently probably since the 80s and 90s. So number 5, I got St. John's up there with a 24-4 record. I've seen them listed as high as maybe number 7 in some polls, but I'm giving them some up. I gave them some up last week, so I'm going to keep them there. Kadari Richmond had 18 points, and Zubi Okafor had 18 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, and 3 blocks. That's a stat sheet filler. JC loves that. And they led St. John's to a victory. And the starting 5, a victory over UConn. It's the first time that St. John's has swept UConn in 25 years. That's amazing. The starting 5, all of them scored 13 points or more. So St. John's something that be reckoned with. I like them since I saw them start moving up from the top 20. So up next is Wednesday. They got Butler at 9 p.m. on CBS Sports Network. And then Saturday, they got Seton Hall at 2:15 on CBS. I don't see much problem with either one of them games for St. John's. So dropping in my poll a little bit. Number 6, Alabama, 22-5. Mark Mitchell had 31 points against number 15, Missouri, and they handed Alabama its second straight loss. Alabama's Mark Sears had 35 points in the loss, man. Sears is a baller. He was fighting in that game. They just could not cut that lead down. And then Sears poured in another 30 points, and Alabama bounces back from 2 losses with a 96-83 victory over number 17 Kentucky Saturday. Sears, man, he's really – I think he's going to get Player of the Year over Cooper Flagg. His numbers are bigger, Flagg, I think Flagg's 18-9. Sears is probably something more like 21-10 or 11, man. He gets doubles like a mug. So if you want to see some good ball, some high-scoring ball, watch Alabama play. It's really a fun game to play. Up next for Alabama is number 24, Mississippi State, tonight, 9 p.m. on ESPN2. Check them out, man. I'm telling you, you won't be disappointed. Alabama basketball is fun to watch. And then they got Saturday, number 7, Tennessee at 4 p.m. You like Alabama basketball, Midnight Rider?
I do, but you mentioned another team, Tennessee. I know you're going to get to them in a little bit.
You think so?
They intrigue me a whole lot.
Yeah, no, I agree.
We're kind of on the same page with teams that we kind of like in the tournament right now, or their prospects. I like St. John's. I like Florida after you talked about them for a couple weeks.
Every week, baby. every week I've been Florida was, I think they came into this 19 in the preseason poll, and I tell you, they just took off ever since, man.
And then I think your latest one, I mean, St. John's you've been talking about, and I'm slowly getting on that. The team you talked about early that I like, I just don't know if they're going to have enough juice, is Arkansas. Like, Arkansas gets in these games and they can play, but I just wonder if if they can maintain it. It's one of those things where they play some nights they play really well, and you just got to hope you don't get them on the night they're playing very well. Because the night they're playing good, they're a handful. But that night they're off, you try to figure out why the committee or why people are high on them. So that's the only thing I see about them. I think Calipari needs at least another year before that gets pumping the way he wants it to.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Let Calipari start throwing some money around, pulling in some NIL, going out, getting some top recruits. I mean, top recruits just want to play for Calipari. I mean, Calipari is NBAU. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's the way his teams have always been. And
not championship U, but he's NBA player U.
And Calipari can coach this team up through any obstacle, you know. I like that you say keep an eye on them. I've liked Tennessee off jump. Texas let me down a little bit, but
I think if Tennessee had another scorer, they'd be dangerous. And because defensively, they're dogs. Defensively, their front court is trouble and will give you all you want all night long. But it's just something about them. They got a guard, Ziegler. He's kind of like their point. The other night, he had a big shot against Texas A&M to kind of seal the deal for him. But he's kind of my kind of point guard. He's gritty. He gets you buckets. He's mostly in it for the assist. But if he can, hit a shot here and there, he's that guy. He's one of those big time players, but he always gets them in the offense and gets them running. Yeah, I think that's pretty much. Oh, then the kid Lanier in the Texas A&M game, he had 21 in the first half. But I'm getting ahead of you, Jack. Go ahead, do your thing, baby.
No, you're exactly right, man. Lanier is their scorer. He is carrying that team on his back. Yep. He needs some help. You're right. He had a season high 30 points the other night, including 8 3-pointers. And then number 7, Tennessee defeated Texas A&M 77-69 on Saturday. I thought Texas A&M was going to give them some go, and they did. They did. Lanier, man, he's a scorer. He's a wide body. I like him. I think he's going to be a fine pro. There's going to be some nice boys coming out in the draft this year. I strongly believe that. Lanier, Cryer, Flag. You got some nice. I got a written down top prospect for the draft. I was waiting for it to do a draft party, but that's what's up with that. So after Tennessee, up next tonight they got LSU 9 p.m. on SEC Network, and then Saturday they got number 6 Alabama 4 p.m. on ESPN. So that's going to be a good game to watch. 2 scoring teams, Midnight Rider, Tennessee, Alabama, Saturday 4 p.m.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to turn into that.
I mean, only thing I might be watching is the combine.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a busy next couple of days for us. So up next, number 8, I think they're holding just steady in my poll. Number 8, Michigan State, 22-5. Jace Richardson scores 21 points. And Trey Holloman had 18, leading Michigan State to a victory over Michigan, 75-62, to take sole possession of first place in the Big East regular season. Michigan State, as we've said earlier, man, don't ever sleep on Michigan State, man. When people think Michigan State's down, Izzo brings them up, man. So up next, Michigan State's going to be a big test for one of our local teams. Michigan State is going to Maryland. Number 16, Maryland, moved up to number 16 this week. So congratulations, Terps. They play that game Wednesday, 6:30 on Big Ten Network. Michigan State against number 16, Maryland Terrapins. That's going to be good. And then Michigan State's got a tough one on Sunday, number 9, Wisconsin. CBS. So we'll see what's up with Michigan State after this week of ball, Midnight Rider?
I would agree and disagree with you. I agree with
Okay.
you because we learned some things, but these are also those games that become teaching moments. And I really like Maryland. I'm really having thoughts of actually making Maryland. So here's a thought I had the other day. I think I like Florida to win the SEC. I like St. John's to win the Big East. And I like Maryland to win the Big Ten.
Maryland can't win the Big Ten.
I disagree with you.
They're too far
Are we
out.
talking regular season Big Ten
No.
win, or we're talking
We're talking
tournament?
tournament.
Okay.
Talking tournament.
Oh, you're talking tournament. Okay.
Talking tournament.
They can't win the regular season. It's not
No.
a game.
I'm talking tournament because the way Maryland's gelling right now, Maryland's got a nice kid from Bullis that can shoot.
Get on
Oh.
Maryland in a minute, big guy.
Okay. I'm sorry. My bad.
Thank
Go
you,
ahead.
sir.
I appreciate you doing that. Yeah, you gotta rein me in sometimes. I started talking hoops.
We all right. And we got a new squad coming in JC top 10 this week at number 9, Wisconsin Badgers, 21-7. They are just a gritty team, man. Gritty. Nate Bitlew had 23 points, and Jack and Selstad made a deep three to send the game into overtime. And Wisconsin held on to beat Wisconsin 77-73. Up next tonight for Wisconsin, they got Washington at 9 p.m. on Peacock. And then Sunday at number 8, Michigan State at 1:30. So that's the part of the battle I was telling you Michigan State's got coming up. Maryland and Wisconsin coming to town this week. And then I got another newbie to my top 10. You want to guess? Either one of you want to guess who my newest team is to the top 10 this week? At the number 10 spot?
New coming into the top 10, trying to get teams that are hot right now. What conference?
ACC.
Clemson.
Yes, sir. Them Clemson
Yeah,
Tigers.
I'm gonna say Clemson.
Clemson Tigers playing ball, man. They coming in with a 22-5 record. Jaden Zachary scored 18 points with 5 3-pointers before halftime. Plus, he had 6 rebounds, 7 assists, and 5 steals to beat SMU 79-69 Saturday. That's a stat sheet filler. I love it. I love it. I love it. Up next is Notre Dame Wednesday, 7 p.m. on ACC Network, and Saturday at UVA, noon on ESPN2. So check it out, man. Clemson Tigers. They're a defensive team. They play wide. They play long. I've told y'all about them since I was up there at Little John earlier this year. I seen them live this year, and they beat my Blue Devils a couple weeks ago. So watch out for Clemson, man. They're ready to go dancing. Clemson's ready to go dancing because Clemson basketball has been up and down the past 3 years. I think 3 years ago they were decent, then they were doo-doo, then they were doo-doo. Now they're better than decent. So go Tigers. That's how they say it down there. Anything more to discuss about the top 10, or do you just want to get into the local hoops right now, fellas?
I think we got a mute monster.
Not me. Ha-ha.
That was on me. Before you get in the top 10, go ahead, Midnight Rider, and I'll get to the comments after you finish.
No, I need the comments.
Get the comments.
Okay. Lance checking in, sup junkies.
LB.
We were talking about Jason Peters slimming down. Opie says some slim, some just get fat after retirement. That is true. But if you notice, most offensive linemen that first 2 years after they finish playing, you like Joe Thomas, the year after he finished playing,
Cleveland
didn't recognize the dude because he was so skinny.
Well, that's the same thing with all the old Redskins guys I see. Russ Grimm, Joe Jacoby, Jeff Bostic. They're just tall dudes, a little bit thick, you know. Lachey, he slimmed down when he retired. Yeah, it's crazy. Once they start playing ball, you don't recognize them. And like Ope says, they either slim down or they swell up.
Yeah, well, it's the diet. You either stick to you eating the 18 pancakes, the 22 eggs, and whatever else it is to maintain your weight.
Yep.
or you go the opposite route and just maintain a regular diet, and then now because you're working out, you're slimming up as opposed to getting fat. So it's easy to drop it. I mean, Jeff Saturday is another person I think about in that category.
True indeed. Yep. Lance said didn't fare too against Clemson.
No, we didn't.
Say too well.
He getting on Clemson beating Duke, I believe.
Clemson makes it to the Sweet 16, and Opie says Terps.
There you go, Opie.
All right, Midnight Rider.
Well, I just think Jack said something about Michigan State. I think they're constantly a tough team. I like the kid Jace Richardson. I think this is kind of one of those teams that's kind of nobody's ever going to be the Flint kids, but this is a tough, hard-nosed ball club. And I think that's the one part that people forget about Izzo. And I heard a nice nugget about Izzo today from Jimmy Patsos. Jimmy Patsos was on, I think, B. Mitch and Finley, and he was just saying that, Izzo understands that the world has changed, but the one thing he's doing well is he said you can get your money or your stuff from your NIL, but you still got to come here and earn your spot. And I think that's the part of the reason why you're seeing this kind of effort from the Michigan State team. I think these guys have earned it, and that's created a certain level of trust in everybody else around you because you earned it and it wasn't given to you.
Right. And, it's good to see Michigan back up winning. I think once they moved on from Juwan Howard, I did not think he was a good coach, or I didn't think he deserved a head coaching job, period. And, I
disagree with you there, Jack.
I think he was a terrible coach.
Here we go.
Can't be out there throwing hands, dude.
Ding.
You also got to remember, Chicago dude.
What does that mean?
And what you're not going to do is disrespect the Chicago dude. You're not going to disrespect the dude like Jamal Howard. Yeah, pretty boy all you want, but he's still gutter.
Not a coach. You can call him a pretty boy.
What happened there?
Basketball player. But go ahead.
But what happened in that situation? Anybody would have threw hands. If that was anybody else, nobody would have had anything to say.
Gotta have restraint. Gotta have restraint.
And he had one losing season at Michigan and got fired.
How many was he there? 3?
1, 2, 3. He was there for 5 years.
Give me his record. Give me his record each year, please.
2019, 2020, first year. 19 and 12, no postseason because of COVID-19. 2021, 23 and 5, went to the Elite 8. 21, 22, 19 and 15, went to the Sweet 16. 2023, 18 and 16, went to the NIT second round. And in his final season was 8 and 24, and they fired him. He did not deserve to be fired.
Yes, he did.
He had one bad season.
2.
You're looking at the season.
Two bad seasons. What's 2 bad seasons?
2 in a row. 2 in a row. They're going nowhere. They weren't going in the right direction, and they had to get rid of them.
Okay, hold on. You count getting to the NIT, a postseason tournament, as a bad season?
That's just for the suckers that can't make it. That's all.
I mean, the NCAA tournament is up to 68 teams.
I know. So I don't give NIT no credit, man.
So you want to be happy to be in number 75?
That's like the mid-season tournament, man.
Over, the NIT is how you crown your national champion. Please don't ever disrespect the NIT like that.
But it's not what it was.
It may not be that now, but don't disrespect the NIT like that.
NIT, you know what that means? NIT stands for not in tournament. Period. Sound like Midnight Rider agreed with that.
I totally agree with that.
NIT is just something for the other dudes to do, man. And like
you know what y'all sound like?
Y'all sound like we'll leave that alone.
That's like you saying Bo Derek is still one of the hottest women in the world. She used to be hot back in her day. She ain't hot now.
Continue on.
JC got to do his local talk.
Bo Derek job like, all right, right now, you crazy.
She job like, all right, but she ain't what she was.
Oh, no.
That's the NIT.
She's not sock material.
Yeah.
All right, we wrapped up the JC's top 10. Like I say, there was a lot of mix-ups in the bottom half of that, and after the schedule I read that's going to be played this week, I think there's going to be a lot of mix-ups next week because there's a lot of top 10 matchups coming our way. Speaking of that, Maryland Terrapins made the top 20 now. They came in at number 16 this week with a 21-6 record. Go Terps, man. Like I say, I don't hate on the Terps. I mean, if they deserve the shade, I give it to them. But right now, they're one of the hottest teams in the country right now. Thursday, they beat USC 88-71, won their 13th straight game at home. That's pretty good. 13 straight. Whole squad was balling. Rodney Rice had 22. Jacoby Gillespie had 20. Jalen Reese had 19 points, 10 boards, 3 steals, and 2 blocks. Stat sheet filler. I love it. And then we got all five starters scored in double figures. But the thing that I think is going to hurt the Terps the most, they got 0. No, I'm sorry. They got 3 bench points. 3 points from their bench. And these starters are playing a lot of minutes, 35, 37, 39 minutes a game. Yes, sir.
Go ahead, KG.
Turn your mic on.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate with that because we talked about bench play. Was it Sunday we talked about bench play? Or was it last Thursday we were talking about bench play? We were talking about another. I think we were talking about Georgetown, but we were also talking about Maryland.
Correct.
Yeah.
And Georgetown still has no bench play.
Here's the bad part about it. And when you get to Georgetown, we'll talk about what they got to lean on now. But here's the thing with bench play in not only college, but also NBA, coaches are using shorter rotations now. We're from the era where during the season, you may have went 10, 11 deep.
I don't know.
On a good night that you was blowing people out, you may clear the whole bench. But when you come to tournament time and playoffs, you went to a shorter, maybe rotation of maybe 7, maybe 8. But even now, they're using 7, 8 players sometimes on the regular season. You're not getting any production from the bench because the guys just coming in. They're just coming in to just keep a team on the floor. And that, it's basketball, but it don't mean I gotta like it. Well, so I just want to play devil's advocate there.
I can tell you 3 guys on the bench. Three. They're 8 deep, so there was 3 coming off the bench, and I can tell you their minutes because I looked at that. The one boy had 16 minutes. He scored 2 points, and the other 2 had 8 minutes apiece, and one of them scored 1 point. So you're looking at 32 minutes. And they can only give you 3 points, Joe. They're not keeping that bench that short. The 16 minutes ain't a bad little outing for a backup, but 3 points total from the bench, that can hurt them because here's what I'm saying. Yeah, that 5 is strong. That starting 5 is strong. But when foul trouble gets into effect, because, tournament play is more physical. And when foul trouble comes into play, that will hurt the Terps tremendously with the bench they have. So that's the only thing I'm doing about their bench. I think it can hurt them in the tournament.
I think you might get surprised by their bench because that one guy gets to 16, the 2 guys get to 8. I think when they're pressed into duty, these guys are going to have opportunities that they wouldn't get if the normal starter 4 or 5 were in play. Like sometimes I think basketball is more about opportunity than anything else because these guys shoot all the time and all day. So it's not a lack of scoring ability. Sometimes it's more of a lack of opportunity or quality opportunities. So that's the only reason I say that. Like, I feel like if I hear guys got 8 minutes, I feel like I'm playing him. I'm still in the minute
4 probably.
Right. I'm still in the minute or 2 in the middle of the first half to give somebody a breather. And then I rotate another person out, give them another breather, and then we're back to that's his 4 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm managing the game. Maybe when we come out of a timeout, I do the old Phil Jackson way. When we come out of the under 12 timeout, I sit a guy into the next dead ball and let whoever this guy is that gets to 8 minutes, let him play until the next dead ball. You got to do something like that. You get creative.
Well, I correct myself here a little bit. It was 4 gentlemen on the bench. So they went 9 deep, but one boy played 1 minute, put up 1 shot, 0 for 1. Another guy put up 9 minutes, 1 bucket out of 2. Another Mr. Young played 4 minutes with no shots, and then Harris Smith played 12 minutes with 1 shot. So it don't seem like there's much offense on that bench. They're not putting up shots. I could see if they were 0 for 5 or something like that. At least they're putting up shots.
Well, I think you got to think about the opportunities. I mean, you got Derek Queen shooting a nice probably 15 shots a game, if not 16. You got Reese getting his shots.
Everybody got shots. Like I say, they all scored double figures.
I was going to say you got 5 guys scoring 13 points, so it's not a whole lot of shots left in that shot selection. I think that's some of it, and I think some of it goes back to what was the guy's name, number 5 from North Carolina? I think it was like
Ed Cota.
No.
Ed Cota or Black?
No, it's not Black. It's not Ed Cota. It's a defensive kid.
Bangkok?
No. He's a guard. He's from.
Oh, he's there now?
No, he's probably early 2000s when Roy was there. When Roy first took over, and he looked at Roy and he said, "Coach, how do I get on the court?" So Roy took him out to the free throw line. He showed them the box from the basically the lane. He said, "You see this part in here? Everything inside of this, you got a green light.
Yep.
Everything outside of this, you better not shoot it, and you better play some great defense." And the kid was a great defensive player, and he knew his role. And I think sometimes we forget about roles,
Well, we'll keep an eye on Maryland and see how that goes. And like I say, please, I don't wish no ill will on them, but something as small as an injury, like I said, major foul trouble. I don't know how many fouls. Let me see how many fouls they have on the night. Foul.
You wouldn't be having to talking about Jackie Manuel, would you?
That's exactly who I'm talking about.
Maryland, they didn't have a player have more than 2 fouls. That's impressive. The whole game. Most fouls on one of Maryland's players is 2. God dang. Then what's the most fouls over here?
Yo, it's something about.
There wasn't no whistles being blown in this game. 16 fouls and 9 fouls. That's not a lot. But I hope they do well. Up next, they got Wisconsin on Saturday, I believe I said. So you got some Terps coming out on TV. Check them out. Up next to my local hoops roundup, we're going to go down the road to Georgetown. 16-11. 16-11 right now. They lost to Creighton last week, 80-69. Peavy had 20 points, 12 boards, balling like he always does, trying to hold this Georgetown team up. Jaden Epps had 22 points, 0 bench points, guys. 0. This has been several weeks in a row that the bench has been subpar. So that may be – no, I'm not going to say it may be. That is probably why Georgetown's got 11 losses.
No, I think the problem right now is the kid's shorter. The freshman big man, he's out for in the stretch. I don't know how long he's out for. I think that's really what's hurting them because he gave them a good inside out. But the thing that's helped them is Peavy's kind of stepped up his game and asserted himself more down the stretch. That's how I see it.
Sorber is out for the season-ending foot surgery.
Okay, yeah, that hurt.
He was in a walking boot last week, and they announced it about 3 hours ago that he has to undergo season-ending surgery. So
Oh.
That hurts him and his prospects with trying to go leave early too.
Yeah,
potential
if
first round back, that'll help.
He's not. This is pretty bad. I don't know how bad it's bad, but it's bad. And speaking of Georgetown, rest in peace to former guard Kevin Braswell. he was one of the last really, really good players that Big John coached. I'm sorry, Jack.
Nah, I saw your message earlier. I had a feeling that's what you wanted to say.
And
Nah, that's your guy. Go ahead, tell us what's up.
I mean,
I don't remember him that well.
I do.
That was a pretty even scoring team there. I think he might have got 14 a game.
Where was he? When was he? So he was there what?
98 to 2002, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on, let me double
So
check.
he's post AI.
Yeah, he was the
yeah.
next guard to come in to wear number 3, and he wore number 3 until they retired, and he switched over to number 12.
Mm-hmm. No, he was solid. Had a career overseas. He played for quite a few teams overseas. I had something written up on that a little while ago. I don't know where it's at, but yeah, never made it in the league though.
No, he played overseas for years, and he even coached overseas.
Mm-hmm, correct.
New Zealand.
I think he won a championship over there.
Yeah, New Zealand Basketball League won 2 of them in 2013 and 2015.
Yep.
And then NBL, LNB,
he
championship.
played a little bit of G League too. I believe.
Yeah.
He just couldn't make it over that hump.
He was what was 6? Was he 6 feet?
6'2". 6'2".
So he
small.
was.
That's small.
He was more of a. He was a speedier Juan Dixon. Put it that way.
All right. I'll go with that.
But he could fill it up. I'll say that. But his game it's one of those games. It's one of those games that just didn't translate to the NBA at that time. If Juan Dixon was in a different era, if Kevin Braswell, a couple of other players, if they were in a different era, probably, the 2010s, they would have made an impact. I feel that way about Victor Page. If Victor Page was in this era right now, he would actually be successful.
I don't know about that.
Lefty, spot up shooter, don't have to go right or left. All he got to do is catch and shoot.
Yeah, but his only problem was him.
Yes.
Yes. KG, you talk about Juan Dixon, and I had a discussion with a friend of mine the other day. Out of that team, Wilcox, Baxter, Dixon, there was another one.
Blake.
No, another one besides Blake. But anyway, I mean, Wilcox, I think, was a freshman that left, could dunk out of the world. Baxter had a great low post game. And Dixon was supposed to be the shit, and they won the championship. Nobody thought Steve Blake would have the NBA career he did. 15, 17 years maybe?
Yep.
And when he played with Go ahead.
One of Kobe Bryant's most trusted teammates.
Exactly what was coming out of my mouth. And when he played in LA, he has that mentality. He has the basketball smarts. Basketball IQ, and that's why I think he was so successful. He didn't lead the league in assists, huh?
And he likes to fight.
What are you talking about?
Oh
Steve
man,
Blake.
You never seen that video?
Stories about Steve Blake fighting people in practice.
Oh man, that was
what's the guard? Maryland Gilchrist?
Yeah, Chris Gilchrist. That's who it was. Him and Gilchrist got into it, and when they got into it, Gilchrist squared up like Blake was gonna back up. He squared up and was like, "Come on!" And he started moving towards, and Gilchrist started moving back.
Yeah,
Gilchrist, he kind of underachieved in my opinion. And did he stayed 2 years?
So I don't know.
He had some big games.
Had a stretch where it was like Diamond Stone, Strawberry didn't perform to his level.
No.
What's the other kid? There was a kid from Oxon Hill that went to Maryland.
Melo Trimble?
Nah. But I knew about Melo. I told somebody.
Melo was supposed to be the shit in middle school.
Melo after his junior year.
He stayed 1 year too long.
There you go. Yep. That's exactly what I told
If Melo would have came out that junior year, he would have been a lottery pick. He stayed 1 year too long, and it messed up everything.
Pick. He'd have been a first rounder, but he wouldn't have been a lottery pick.
It messed up everything. Him coming back, I thought that was the worst thing he ever did.
I thought Melo should have left. So give big props to Steve Blake and the NBA career he had, and everywhere he went, that the team loved him, man. And just think about it, man. This is a guy that nobody thought was going to have this kind of NBA career, and he living the fat life right now.
Yeah.
So,
And
that's
the
all
only thing
Steve
that
Blake.
held Steve Blake back, he never could dig his heels in anywhere. He never stayed anywhere long. And that was the problem. He never was able to. LA and Portland was where he was at the most, but he never was able to dig his heels in to really play for one coach and really rock it.
I think he went to where he was needed, KG. I think a lot of times he went to the teams that needed him.
But 2005, 2006, Portland. 2006, 2007, Milwaukee. 2007, the Nuggets. He back to Portland from 2007 to 2010. Then he was with the Clippers in 2010. Then he was with the Lakers from 10 to 14. Then with the Warriors from 14. 14, 15 back with the Blazers. 15, 16 Pistons. Then he was with the Sydney Kings. He never was able to put his feet down and grow roots.
But he's not the type of ball player that's going to do that. He's one of those guys that he's a guy. Hold on. I got to say it right.
He played some of his best ball in Portland.
Here's a guy. All right. Here's a guy that he overachieved his whole career, but he's a guy that you're going to always put him in the mix because he's a 7, 8, 9 guy. On the right team, he's 7, but unfortunately, that team's not going to win a whole lot of ball games. On a good team, he's 9 because he's giving you solid minutes and spelling your point guard.
Wasn't he starting with the Lakers?
Probably so. Shit, we had Smush Parker at one point. Anybody could have started for us.
Let me put it to you this way. The night that I saw Steve Blake consistently break Duke's full court press, nobody broke Duke's full court press. But the night that he broke that full court press and they wound up coming back, it was that night and the night that they came back from down 26.
He fouled out of the game. Tell me the Duke game?
Yeah.
When Duke scored 10 points in 63 seconds?
No.
I think that may have been the night. I can't remember what I know they were down and they came back and they won, but it was the reason why they won because
who won? Maryland?
Yeah, Maryland won.
Oh, that
Duke had turned up the pressure and they were pressing so hard, but Steve Blake, he kept breaking the press. And they put Duhon on him. He was killing Duhon. He was killing Jay Williams. And he just kept getting the ball out, but he distributed. He didn't score a lot of points. But what he did with the ball, he had the ball on the string that night. When they put Drew Nichols back there, Drew Nichols couldn't break it. They were breaking Drew Nichols down like a fraction. Couldn't do nothing. But when they put Steve Blake back there to handle the rock, he was killing it. The kid, he ain't a kid no more, but the dude was just like, I was like, I'm a Steve Blake fan. I really am. And I always felt that if you had to pick some of the best backcourts in the ACC, him and Juan Dixon was one of the two. They were one of the best backcourts while they were together. Just my opinion.
No, it definitely was. And their press was vicious back then. But that game I'm talking about.
I know which one you're talking about. You're talking about the 10 points in
63 seconds?
Yeah, that Jay Will goes off.
Yeah, went off. And the thing is, we're having a tough time with that press until Blake fouled out. I'm trying to read it. I'm positive he fouled out or got hurt.
No, I think you're right. I think you're right about that.
And Duke just brought the ball up at ease, and Jay Will was getting off on that left side. Yeah, I remember that game.
That was the days of Duke slapping the floor. That was the floor slapping years.
Sir, man. Yes, sir.
You know, Coach K used to cheat, right?
Shit.
You never heard that story?
Jerry Rice cheated too.
No, I'm gonna tell you how Coach K cheated. When they were down on his end of the floor, and it's the end where his bench is. When they were bringing the ball up, if it was a man open, he would stomp on the floor to signal it's a man open.
It's the same as yelling at somebody. It's communication. That's not cheating.
He stomped on the floor. And how he stomped on the floor was telling you who was open. That's how they got a lot of stuff quickly, because he saw stuff and he was stomp on the floor.
Coach saying, no way, KG. He said, crazy. He said, you crazy, KG.
I'm crazy as a fox.
Stomping on the floor to alert your team. I don't see nothing wrong with that.
I don't know if JC is going to get to this. George Mason and American are also playing some good ball right now. I don't know where they stand in their conferences, but I know Tony Skins got them playing some decent ball down at George Mason, and I know Americans making some moves and doing their thing. So
Tony Skin, boy, I ain't heard that name in a while.
Mm-mm.
And he's on the coaching superstar path, because the guy that coached at Mason before him replaced your boy Cooley at Providence. I can't think of it. I think his last name's English. But he did a rock star job at Mason, and then now he's at Providence, and I think he's just missing a guy. He just needs a guy. If he can get him somebody that can just clean up some of the things that they got going on, he'll be fine.
He'll be all right.
Where we at?
What we got?
You got anything else, Jack?
Up next for Georgetown is UConn. A pissed off UConn team, man. They done lost a few games these past 5 contests, so that's tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. So I expect UConn to blow the piss out of Georgetown tomorrow.
Speaking of that, one of UConn's last losses was to St. John's.
Mm-hmm.
For St. John's swept them for the first time. What you say, Jack? 25 years?
First time in 25 years that they've swept the UConn. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Here's a question that my man Keith Franzese asked. He said, when Pitino was available, why didn't Georgetown ring his phone off the hook and beat down his door?
Because you don't want Pitino. Pitino still had some of the dirt on his hands from the Italian restaurant, or it wasn't dirt, probably something else on his hands from the Italian restaurant in Louisville.
Possible.
So he had him some situations. I think people weren't comfortable with getting back in bed with him. It's kind of the same way that people took some time before they jumped back in to the Bobby Petrino side of it. These guys had their little incidents or these moments, and yeah, teams have shied away from some of these incidents and some of these scandals.
I agree with you.
Anything else, Jack?
Saturday, Georgetown plays number 21 Marquette at 8 p.m. Georgetown, they lost a couple players to injury, but they gotta try to straighten out a little bit. I mean, NIT is in their future possibly. I don't see them. They got to win the Big East, and that ain't happening either. So, I'm not knocking Georgetown. I'm just telling you how it is. So that's what I got for local hoops, man. Maryland jumps into the top 20, and Georgetown has some injuries and no bench.
I'm not going to argue with you, Jack.
Thank you, sir.
Not tonight. Next up, we got the NFL Combine kicking off. Players arrived on Sunday. That was early player arrivals. Yesterday was registration for punters, kickers. Place kickers, D linemen, and linebackers. Orientation and team interviews. Also, the DBs and the tight ends arrived early yesterday. Today, general medical exam, pre-order studies and team interviews with place kickers, D linemen, and linebackers. Also, registration and pre-exam, orientation and team interviews for the DBs and the tight ends. Tomorrow, you got all of that with an NFLPA meeting and all of that stuff with running backs, quarterbacks, and wideouts. Midnight Rider, give us a preview, man. I got a list of players, and I want to hear who you looking forward to. But
all right,
what you got with this preview?
What was your question, KG?
Huh?
What was your question, sir? Did you ask Midnight Rider a question?
Yeah, he said,
I
"Who am
want
I
to.
looking?"
I'm saying who is he looking for? At the combine.
Okay. I'm on the page now.
All right. So I'm gonna start this by saying this. Last night I did hours and hours of research. I was breaking down film. I'm looking at highlight tapes. I'm looking at some things, picking out some guys that stand out to me. So here's what I noticed. If you pick after 20, you are in the jambalaya. You are in the mix of where everybody from 20 to 60. I don't think this draft is any different. I think you can get a guy at 20 and he had the same value at 58 or 60. And the reason I say that is because this draft is deep at positions that normally you aren't deep at. You got a deep tight end class. You got a deep defensive lineman class. You got a very deep running back class. So most people don't touch their running backs if they believe in the philosophy till to the third round anyway. But there are probably two backs that want to go. Actually, I think three backs go in the first 2 rounds. So I'll start my preview that way. Of course, we know number one is our guy Genty from Boise State. I think he's going to be the first back taken off the board. I think the second back off the board is the kid Amari Hampton from North Carolina. He gives me vibes of a faster Arian Foster, and I want to see what they put in his profile because that's who he looks like to me. But I could be wrong. But I like making a guess on who I think it is to see how close I am to what the scouts are thinking. The third guy is real simple, Travion Henderson. He's a track guy, Ohio State running back. He's faster than fast. It's just he's a blur. Only thing you got to question is his hamstrings or anything and things like that. So if I were Washington and I decided to take a flyer on this kid, the first person I call is Santana Moss and Gary Clark, and I get them to talk to him about his hamstrings and how to maintain and the maintenance required for that, because that's most of the games he's missed at Ohio State. But I'm gonna go back because Jack probably wants to be in this conversation, and the place I want to start is quarterback. I want to start with the QBs. I think first and foremost, I know he doesn't agree with me. I think Cam Ward is the first quarterback taken off the board. And it's because I think his arm is a little bit stronger. I think he's like a diet Jaden Daniels. Like he likes the big play. So you kind of got to rein him in a little bit. Like he wants to, if you remember the clip last year where Dable tried to trick Daniels on the board, he was like, what if this coverage is there? And Daniels was like, I'll throw a touchdown. That's the vibe I get from Cam Ward. And if you remember, Cam Ward was like a 0-star player when he came into the league. He was an option quarterback. Then he got to Washington State, Cam Ward.
Yeah, he came from He came from a running school before
he went to like Incarnate or something like that. Then ended up at Washington State. He changed himself, and then he went to Miami because he wanted to play against better competition and get moved up. I think he's one. I like Shedeur. My problem is he's not a big arm guy. He's more of an accurate guy. I think his problem, or the thing that worries me about him, is I think he holds the football a little too long. So he gives me a little bit of the Caleb Williams, I got to see it before I throw it and not to throw with anticipation. And that's the only thing I worry about with him. I think he still gets taken in the top 5. But I think you're going to hear a lot of people talk about just the time it takes for him to throw the ball or get the ball out of his hands. And that's going to be an issue for him. And it doesn't help that he didn't have good offensive lines the last 2 years. These aren't necessarily guys that I have ranked in any position. But 3 other quarterbacks intrigue me. First and foremost, you've watched this show for the last 2 years. You know the name Quinn Ewers is going to come up. And I think if you're a team like the Raiders or somebody like that, I think you trade back into the first and take this kid. And the reason why I say do that is because you get the 5-year option, the 5th-year option. And secondly, last year the kid played with an oblique injury. So anything that you saw in the second half of the season, questioning his arm or arm strength, he's dealing with an oblique. That tells you the story right there. Right. It's not like he's a wimp. He's not missing games. I think he just struggled because he just couldn't rotate his body the way he should have in those situations. The kid that intrigues me the most, and I'm curious at how the NFL will view him, is Graham Mertz from Florida. I think he's garbage. I think he's on my list. I think he's one of the worst quarterbacks between his time at Wisconsin and the time at Florida. Mm-hmm. But the NFL somehow finds a way to like the quarterbacks that I dislike. Perfect example is Jeff Driscoll. I thought Jeff Driscoll was hot ass on the side of the road, hot ass and garbage. But somehow he's in the NFL, and I think he's the backup quarterback for Washington. So I can't worry about that. And then I think my dark horse, I didn't put him on this list, but my dark horse is the kid from Syracuse, Kyle McCord. I've seen him spinning at the Shrine Bowl.
Jesus Christ, you're naming every quarterback on the list. Ain't nobody left.
No, I'm just trying to give you guys to think about. Forget you, Jack. I didn't say this when your top 10 was coming out. Nah. So that's the QBs, running backs. The one of the guys that stands out. I got like 5 or 6.
You got 10 of them, I'm sure.
Huh?
I'm sure you got 10 of them.
No, I only got 5. We already talked about Henderson.
All right.
So number 2 on another guy I'm curious about is Devin Neal, running back from Kansas, super electric. Another guy is your guy, Cam Scatterbo. I think he's going to be interesting.
Yeah, Scatterbo going to be a nice running back.
The kid from Virginia Tech, Basu Tootin, he's very quick, very fast, but he's small. So I think that's going to be his thing. I think this weekend you got to see his measurables, and that might be the thing for him. Quinshawn Juggins from Ohio State also. Another kid where he came to Ohio State, and I think he came there thinking Henderson was going to leave. When Henderson didn't leave, he had to share the backfield. Caleb Johnson, Iowa. The kid, I think he's going to be one of those guys that I think, depending on what he runs, is going to show you something. And then another guy is Raheem Sanders. When I watched him last night, he seemed like he could hit the home run. I'm not sure if he's a down in type of back. And then my dark horse is a kid out of Delaware, Marcus Yarns. He's a straight up athlete. He can play a little receiver. He can play a little bit of running back. I think he tapped out at 22 miles per hour when he was running. So speed. And I'm only going to do the offense today because I see where we at on the clock. So tomorrow or Thursday, we'll give you defense.
All right.
Wide receivers. I got a list that's interesting, and I'm not including any of the top guys. So the first guy on my list is Isaiah Bond from Texas. He's a kid that was at Alabama, transferred to Texas. I think he's a poor man's Worthy. He's not as fast, but he still has track speed. He's just a step below him. My favorite receiver in this group is the kid from Miami, Xavier Restrepo. I call him 7-Eleven. He seems to be always open, and he was one of Cam Ward's favorite targets. The next kid on my list is Trey Harris, Ole Miss. I call him the lethal version of A.J. Brown. He's just not as physically imposing, but he has the same traits. The kid, if you watch the Senior Bowl, they had the kid Jack Beck, whose brother was killed in the New Orleans thing, but he won the MVP of the Senior Bowl.
Caught the winning touchdown.
Yeah. When I looked at him, all I kept thinking was Cooper Kupp. Like, I think he could be a guy that the Rams draft, and they just put him in the place to replace Kupp, and they'll keep moving the ship along. And then there's 2 Colorado kids that intrigue me, Jimmy Horn because he's ultra quick. He actually kind of reminds me of Tank Dell with his short area quickness. And then LeJontay Wester is another kid that I like in that group. Tight ends, I picked 4, but these aren't the best 4. These are just 4 that I like. First one's a kid from Iowa, Luke Lachey. And all I'm going to say again is he's from Iowa. He's a tight end. I don't need to say anything more. I don't need to expound upon it. Notre Dame has a guy, Mitchell Evans. I think if you look at his thing, I think they may compare him to a Kyle Rudolph, keeping it Notre Dame on Notre Dame crown. Big kid, can move a little bit. Not elite, but I think he'll be a solid tight end. I think you can get 10 years out of a kid like this.
Yeah.
Texas has a tight end, Gunnar Helms. I don't know if you're familiar with that name, Jack.
A tight end over there?
Yeah, they got a tight end. When you watch him, my first note after watching him the first time this week, I said Ertzy. Like he looks like Ertz in terms of being able to find that space in the zone, be open, be available.
Okay.
He has the early Ertz big play potential, but he has the later Ertz being able to just be open when the quarterback needs him. And then there's a kid from Bowling Green, Harold Fanning Jr. He's an athlete. The kid's he's probably going to be the star of the combine when it comes to measurables for tight ends. I think he's going to broad jump further than anybody. I think he's on vertical higher than anybody. I think he might even run one of the fastest 40s of this group. He reminds me of Jonnu Smith, who used to play for the Tennessee Titans. Very athletic. Got all the gifts in the world. He's probably a cross between him, Jonnu Smith, and Delaney Walker. Very athletic tight ends in this group. And then I just picked out 3 O-linemen because I knew that we would probably be long in the tooth. And if we want to go longer, I can do the defensive side. But Texas has an O-lineman, Kelvin Banks. He's a tackle / guard. I think he's going to end up at guard. Kind of like the kid Sam Cosmi, where I think it's going to be easier to push him inside to get better production from him.
Got you.
ND State, North Dakota State has a guy, Greg Zabel. For some reason, all of a sudden, North Dakota State has become the land of random offensive linemen. I think each of the last 2 years. Go ahead, Jack. Go ahead.
North Dakota State is. You're exactly right. I'm going to say the same thing, man. They just an up-and-coming squad. They always dominate down there in their division. What is it? North Dakota State, South Dakota State?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's funny because they always got an offensive lineman that comes into the draft. He can play center, guard, and tackle. Most of the time they end up at tackle. The guy last year that didn't have any teeth, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, plays for the Bucks. He's a guard. I think he was one of the better rookie guards last year. The year before that, they had another guy that came in and transitioned. They've been just transitioning the guys all of a sudden. So if you want a guard tackle combo, and I think for the Commanders, this guy is probably going to be there second round around their pick, and I think the other thing that they got to think about is I think the Commanders trade down, take an early 2. Because because think about it. All right, you got a quarterback, right? So you don't need a 5th year on him.
You need to cash in on a true career left tackle.
But you don't have a true career left tackle in this draft.
There's some few linemen in here that they could get, and I wouldn't have a problem getting them in the late first round. Wouldn't have a problem with it.
I think the only other guy in this list that is a quality left tackle prospect, and you're going to depend on his competition, is Josh Simmons, the kid from Ohio State. Outside of him, a lot of these other tackles are probably going to end up at right.
Ohio State and Texas got big lines.
Or the problem is, I think Brandon Coleman is better than them, so you don't have to push him over the right tackle because Coleman's going to get that jump for being in the league a year and getting some of that strength that you gain from being in a program where you're actually training to get stronger, not training just to do the bench press at 225. That's the difference.
Okie dokie smoky.
And then the other tackle that I think you might be talking about is Emory Jones, the kid from LSU.
Yeah, I
Big
like him.
kid, good arm size or arm length. Definitely could be a day one. I think he's going to be more of a day two, just because of inconsistencies. But yeah, let me hit these. Let me see what we got comment wise. If we got any comments. Oh, missed that.
Starts at V.
V says, let me hit that. I like information.
Thanks, V.
And then, of course, Maddie says, I know not a player, but here's Pete Carroll today and think he could write the Raiders ship.
It looked like Matty gonna say, I know I'm not a player, but I crush a lot.
Right, exactly.
That's what I thought he was gonna say.
Is that anything on the Maddie? Because
Nah, I don't see nothing.
all right, cool.
You caught up.
All right, but go ahead. Talk to me.
No, are you complete?
I mean, I just did the offense. If you want me to do defense,
Yeah, we can just do offense today, I think, because I haven't done defense.
If you want, all right. So just give you a couple names to look at defense, and then we can have a conversation on Thursday.
A couple names, that big boy at Penn State.
I'm trying to stay away from the top 20 guys.
I know you're trying to just tell me some sleepers or some secrets in the possibility. But what's his name? Carter?
Yes.
He's just a monster, man. He's
That's
gonna
who Carter's
help
gonna be.
whatever squad he goes to.
Yes. He's gonna change. Like I fully think I don't understand why Cleveland. Well, I think the money is why Cleveland won't get off of Myles Garrett. But if they could get off of Myles Garrett, I'd go there. And then again, they're another team that I think we move back into the first and draft one of these quarterbacks later on. I don't love the quarterback class at all. And part of their problem is they're following this year's quarterback class. And this quarterback class was elite. And now it's only like 2 or 3 of them that probably deserve first round grades. If that, I think a third one will get drafted in the first round because we're at such a lead for the position.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's where that plays out or how that ends up.
Well, there's a nice linebacker coming out of Clemson. Oh, what's his last name? Carter. His name's Carter as well. I like him coming out of the linebacker spot. There's another linebacker that I like, but I don't see him on the combine list.
What school?
I want to say he played for Texas. Boy, like number 44. But anyway,
I haven't done a whole list of players.
Yeah, no, I just started looking at defense, but my quarterback list basically goes around Dart and Shedeur Sanders. But you got to watch out for that boy from Missouri. I think Brody Cook might turn into something nice. And I think that boy from Indiana, Rourke, he's got a nice arm and he can run.
I think if I'm Rourke or Brady Cook, I want to kill my San Francisco, my Minnesota, my Rams, and my Jacksonville interviews. Because I think, or wherever Canales is in, well, you're not going to get in front of, Bryce Young.
No, I think both of them get a couple of years.
But I think if they go to anybody on that McVay tree, they look like McVay kind of quarterbacks. And I don't know what Stetson Bennett's status is. But Stetson Bennett would be
who knows
as well.
Well, he's not at the
No, Stetson Bennett has already been drafted by the Rams. He went to Georgia.
No. I'm not talking about Stetson Bennett then. What's the other Georgia? Carson Beck.
He's at Miami.
Carson Beck. He went to Miami, right?
Yeah, he went to Miami to get some more money.
I got them confused. Bennett, Beck.
And I don't think that class is going to be that strong either.
I think both of them could be 2-year backups and get some more work and maybe be a guy that comes along year 3 and 4.
Yep.
But then again, shit, you get paid to be a backup. Running back, I like Scott Bow over at Arizona State. I also like that boy Blue at Texas.
Is he a senior? I didn't see him on my combine invite list.
Yeah, Jaden Blue. And then
All
Taj Brooks at Texas Tech is nice.
I'm telling you, there's probably like 15 or 20 running backs that are gonna be in the mix in this class, maybe even more than that.
It might be the running back year, man.
I think you're gonna have. It's going to be to a point that if you somehow miss out on one of your running backs that you had,
you got another one.
Rounds, you're going to bring in a kid as a free agent, and this is where I think the Delaware kid comes in. I think he's either going to be a 7th rounder or a roster invite or a free agent, and by the time you see his speed, you're going to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You're going to figure out how to find a way for him, and I think he would be perfect in Washington. Because he looks like a home run hitter, and I think it helps you if you're not sure what happens with Eckler, because Eckler had the 2 concussions this year. So maybe you draft a running back and sign somebody. You know what I'm saying? You figure that out.
We don't got no contract on Eckler though, right?
No, he has a 2nd year. I thought he was one of the few 2 years they did.
Okay.
So on his side, it's more so deciding, do I want to come back and do this another year?
Yeah, no, he had a tough season, man, injury-wise.
Mm-hmm.
The boy at Texas Tech, Taj Brooks, I like him at the running back spot. R.J. Harvey at University of Central Florida.
I watched him last night.
He runs the ball hard. And then, what's his name? Quinshawn Judkins from Ohio State.
I mentioned him earlier.
He's good. He's good out of the backfield for passes and everything. He's a complete running back. So I like them at tight end. There's a boy at Clemson named Benningstool. He's a big, bulky ass tight end, can block and catch. CJ Dupree at Alabama. And then you always got the first tight end off the board is going to be Tyler Warren. And I wouldn't be surprised if he goes in the first 10.
You know who? I'm glad you said that, because I think the kid that I really like for Kansas City is the Michigan kid, Colston Loveland. I think he would fit nicely in Kansas City as your future to replace Kelsey. He'd be a nice fit, or if you don't get one early, you get somebody late, and that's the kid Helms from Texas. I think he'd fit in that role. Because he's not quite a in the line blocker, but he's a guy that likes to read the field and he sees what the quarterback sees.
Well, I think Warren's going to flow right into the NFL like that boy over in Vegas did.
Bowers.
Bowers. I think Warren's going to have that same transition. Because they're I think the SEC is like the NFL minor leagues, really.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
Talent that comes out of there. So I'll go to the wide receiver spot. I got quite a few on here. I like that boy at Louisville, Brooks, Ja'Cory Brooks. I like him.
Mm-hmm.
Notre Dame, Bo Collins. Is that how you say his first name?
I didn't see enough of him this year. I didn't see enough from him.
Okay.
I'll add that to. If you send me your list, take a picture of it, just send it to me. I'll do some looks into what you got.
Okay. There's a boy, Mika. I cannot pronounce his last name.
Oh, Mika Ibuku. Yep.
At Ohio State.
Yep. I think his comp is easily Jackson Smith and Jigba. I mean,
no doubt.
You don't have to do anything else.
And then a boy from College Park, Taj Felton. He's solid.
I like him. I had him on my list. I didn't get a chance to get to him last night.
Okay. And then my last one from Colorado, I think if he was the number 1 star instead of Horn, his numbers would have been through the roof. Instead of Travis Hunter. Hunter was the main attraction there, and Horn got the seconds and the leftovers. I think Jimmy Horn's going to be nice if he can get on a team where he can be the main guy and he makes acrobatic catches, one-handed catches. I've seen a lot because we watched a lot of Colorado football. I know I did the last 2 years since Prime's been there. I probably watched more than half of Colorado's games this year and last year. So I like Jimmy Horn at the wide receiver spot. I do think he's going to be a second rounder though, but I think he could really help a program.
I don't think he's going to get that. I don't think he's going to get that high.
You don't think he's going to get second? I mean, second can go all the way up 60-something pick.
Nah, I think he's going to be later on. I mean, I could be
I'll
wrong.
put a note on that. We'll see.
Like I see him more of a third or fourth round guy.
All right, I'll put
second
round.
He fits right in what I was talking about because I think I compared him to Tank Dell. He's a very quick guy getting in and out of his breaks. I think he'd be perfect for somebody in a slot spot. I mean, as I'm thinking of teams off the top of my head, like Pittsburgh would work for him because Pittsburgh doesn't have any inside receivers.
Right.
Cincinnati would work even better for him because then you'd be in the mix with.
If they keep Higgins, he wouldn't work.
Yes, he would because he'd be in your slot.
Okay.
Like I think what we're forgetting about is like this. Most teams run 3 receiver sets. Now you can put him in a slot. I think that's where he fits best. You get him one-on-one with a two-way go, I think he becomes a problem.
Well, I look forward to seeing him in the league and what he can accomplish.
Yeah, so shoot me a picture of your list. I'll add those guys to my list. We'll go from there. And then defense.
We can do
We'll do defense Thursday.
Okay.
And we'll see what happens from there. Do you want to get into this? Only 2 things we got left. It says Ashburn powwow. So I'm guessing he's talking about what Adam Peters said today. I don't know if you saw any of that. I mean, he didn't say much of anything.
No, what are you talking about?
So Peters spoke today at the combine. Tomorrow, Dan Quinn speaks. Basically, Peters just said, in a nutshell, we're going to be aggressive, but we got to fill up 29 roster spots. We had a second lowest returning player numbers. So we got to basically get guys back in the building. So I wouldn't look for that big plunge in the free agent market. I think they're going to be more of a team where they sit on the fringes and get guys to be solid players because they're looking for commanders, is what he said today.
Okay. Well, as far as the whole combine going on, they do interviews with the guys and then they get on the field. On-field workouts are scheduled for Thursday, 3 p.m. Defensive linemen and linebackers come in. Friday, defensive backs and tight ends at 3 o'clock. It's going to be all over ESPN, folks. Just all you're going to see is cats working out, running 40s, jumping up high. It's going to be crazy. Saturday, quarterbacks, wide receivers, and running backs. I think that's the best day. And that starts at 1 p.m. on Saturday. And then Sunday, offensive linemen come in at 1 p.m. So I'd like to see that one too. It's going to be a good 4 days for NFL fans to follow and see the kids that's going to be coming to the league here in the future.
All right. Let's save these other commander questions for Thursday because I know KG probably wants to be active in that. Let's see what comments we have left.
Save it for Thursday.
All right. So we're going to save everything else for Thursday. Hour 40. Easy.
Not bad. We've been going too.
With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get out of here. Get going with our nights. Hopefully wish you a good night. And Jack, any last minute thoughts?
Yeah. Today's Tuesday. Tomorrow in the passenger seat, 8 p.m. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Apple Podcasts. You find us everywhere, baby. We got Mr. Chris Dooley is going to be on the show. Chris played ball at Fairmont Heights, and Chris is one of the owners of
Baseball Factory?
Extreme Baseball and Softball in Waldorf. So we've been trying to make a field trip down there, see Chris, but we're probably going to do it after the interview. And look forward to this interview, guys. Chris Dooley's a great guy. Been a friend of mine 30 years. So I look forward to tomorrow's show. Me and the Midnight Rider, my backseat driver.
All right. And with that being said, I can't lie to you and say we don't do no overtime, because we do. Seems like we do more overtime during the off season than we did during the regular season. But hey, it is what it is. We love talking to you folks. First and foremost, if you just joined the Sound Eye Junkies podcast network, the 24/7 or the podcast network, as a Facebook friend, we appreciate you. If you've commented on the shows, we appreciate you. We thank you. If you haven't gone to YouTube, go to YouTube.
Please.
Like and subscribe.
Right.
That way you get notices. If you join the group, you get notices. And you can see us anytime we pop up on your screen. Again, tomorrow, Wednesday night, we got the in the passenger seat. Thursday, we hit you with the Friday Eve show. Saturday, we hit you with the WrestleManiacs and the Gridiron. Monday, we back at you with the Drive Time with Matty Ice.
Don't forget
All
Sunday
that
Rise.
Oh, I forgot. And Sunday at 11 a.m., we hit you with Sunday Rise. So we're all over the place. We're trying to keep you informed and entertained. And with that being said, we'd like to thank you for watching tonight. Have a good evening. God bless and good night.